Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar covering Innovating Midstream, TT's 2024 Insights and 2025 Vision, led by our Director of Product, Febin Jose, and also Joe Pikas, the expert on everything Pipeline Hub. My name is Kesley Price, and I am the Product Marketing Manager here at Technical Toolboxes, and I will be facilitating the webinar today. We will get started here shortly, but first a couple of logistical details I need to cover. If you have any questions on what we're covering throughout the presentation, there's a chat box in the top right or in a questions tab in the top right of the screen of your webinar interface. Feel free to please send us any questions you may have throughout the webinar, and we will do our best to cover all those questions live. We will send a copy of the webinar recording to everyone that registered and attended via email within the next couple of days. And you will also be able to see this on YouTube on our channel. So we will get that to you as quickly as we can when we wrap the webinar. All right, I will turn it over to Febin. Let's get down to the good stuff.
Thank you, Kesley. First of all, thank you to everyone, who joined the webinar today. It means a lot for us. This is the first time we are doing something like this, and hopefully the first of many. What we want to do is we want to be very transparent on the work that we are doing, giving you guys a preview on what we did in 2024 and what 2025 a year does for this. And it gives you a context on how we are delivering on our promises and how we are essentially delivering on our product execution. So to get started, what I have here is a quick agenda on what we want to cover. So what you see here, it's going to be a very engaging session. In my opinion, we're going to cover 2024 recap, what we did, what are some of the stats that we want to present there, then spend some time on what industry trends we are seeing in the industry overall. I have Joe Pikas here. Joe and myself, we're going to spend some time talking about what we see in the industry, what are some good trends, and what are some things that we as a team are doing to catch up with the trend there. And then we will spend our time on our 2025 goals. It's more of a preview on what we want to do in 2025 and open up for question and answer. So as simple as that. So that's what our agenda looks like. Now moving on. So 2024 recap, a quick preview on all the things that we did. So if you see, this is what 2024 looks like from our standpoint on all the things that matters for us and for you. So NPS, that's a Net Promoter Score. It is what is a measuring stick for us as a team to figure out, are we delighting our customers the right way? Are our customers happy with our rollout and the product roadmap and the products that we are rolling? Our NPS stands at 63.1. Anything above 40 is amazing. And thank you so much for rating us. It's usually that pop-up that comes in every now and then quarterly for you guys, where you essentially rate us on a scale of 10, what it says, and that's what contribute to the score here, as you see. The next is usage. So our weekly active usage on an average stood at around 450, 421. That's essentially what the score is. And monthly, it's usually around anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200. And that's a very, very good engaging customer group that we have from a total consolidated number of few thousands actually. So around, we have somewhere between I think around 5,000 active customers, and that's a very good number that we're seeing there. Things that matters for us, enhancements. So we delivered 330 enhancements based on the feedback that the team has provided us. It comes in from internal feedback that we as a product team work with engineering on also the feedback that we get from customer cabs, also from Jira systems, and from the feedback and CS sessions that we as a team do. Documentations, this is very important for all of us. What it means is the calculation documentations and the help documentations that we do. We added close to 300 pages of help documentations for this year. So that's what 2024 looks like. Product onboarding videos. This has been something that a lot of you guys have asked for. This is onboarding videos on how to use the product, often created by Joe myself, our subject matter expert. So what you see is we have added 12 new onboarding videos that covers on different products. This includes AC mitigation, HGD, pipeline toolbox, any products that you can. And we're not stopping. We still have a lot to do, which we'll talk in our 2025 preview there. Piper was our AI LLM model that we introduced for the industry, and we got 120 unique users in Piper trying Piper. That's just a very good metrics for us to essentially go all in on Piper and start building more and more features there, and that's what you see here. And lastly, new applications. What does this mean, right? So what we call as new applications are new items that we added into the hub as a platform. We added what we call as API collector, a tool for the inspection suite. What it does is it essentially allows you to gather your information, your inspection data from the field, and that's one. And also Piper, which has been trained against almost all the industry regulatory code standards. So those are two things that we added here. So new feature rollouts. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about these new feature rollouts because I want to make sure we as a team have given you a preview on what this means. Advanced calcs. So we asked the team and our customers, what are some of the things that you guys would like us to build on top of the calculations in the hub platform? And the conclusion of the answer that we got was batch run, sensitivity analysis, and AutoCAD integration. These are some ideas that you guys provided. And what we did was, I mean, we just took it like a champ, just made sure our product team essentially worked on the design and delivered it, and that's something that we delivered. Piper, it's the platform, it's the LLM chatbot that we mentioned, that we spoke about. That is something that we launched here. Product enhancements, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this. In terms of product enhancements, we covered AC mitigation was a tool that we spent a lot of time in. I mean, you would have seen how the user interface, the user workflow, the reporting, and all those aspects change for API for AC mitigation. Now, when you look at the other products, HTD, we just added hydraulic fracture analysis as a module in HTD that is much more encompassing compared to where you are. So all those things were features that we added. And when you go and look back at Pipeline Toolbox, new calculations, new features, new enhancements, those were things that we added there. And product in focus API toolbox, we're going to go in detail. I'm just not going to talk. I'm going to take you to the hub platform to showcase some of these features firsthand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move from this slide for some time and showcase you what these features mean in real life in the hub platform. So bear with me for a second as I switch the screen. Right, I hope everybody can see my screen. This is our hub platform that you all use on a day-to-day basis, pipelineengineeringsoftware.com. So on the right side, you see a board or an icon for our Piper. That's the LLM model that you have. So what you see here is when you click on this, this is how we load the LLM model or the chatbot. It's trained against the industry standard. So it's trained against ASME B31.48, any of the reference code standards that you guys are familiar with and you are using it on a day-to-day basis within our calculations. And now what it can do is it can essentially answer contextual answers to the questions that you are asking. We took extreme care here to essentially make sure that, I mean, this is not like the regular LLM models that scrape the internet and give you the answer by scraping the internet. What we did is we isolated the source, and the source is the reference code standards, and made sure that the contextual answer comes in from that particular source, and that's all. So that's what we do here. So I have an example for you here where I'm asking the Piper model what reinforcement of welded branch connection means in the context of B31.8. And it's giving me an answer from the context of reinforcement from the ASME B31.8 standard. And what you see here is like it can go into any level in terms of contextual answering. So I have asked him, hey, I want a simplified version so that I can learn as I go. And it essentially breaks down the key concepts, answers everything in a much more digestible manner there. So what I'm going after is Piper has been trained to answer questions based on what your requirement is. If you want a simpler answer, it's equipped to answer that. It's a reasoning model that we integrated into the Hub platform, and the reasoning is essentially contextualized from the reference code standard. So that is something that's there. That's what we meant by Piper, and it is available in the Hub platform under once you click on the icon. And just a caveat here, this is an enterprise feature. So what it means is all enterprise users across the board gets to access this. And when if the icon is activated for you, it means you're an enterprise customer and you get to access Piper free of course across the board. Joe, anything from your side that you want to add on Piper as I take the team to batch run and sensitivity analysis?
Yes. One of the things, and we're going to talk about a little bit later in the future, is we're dealing with the regulations sometimes, or certain documents, and this is where AI, artificial intelligence, could add into the workflow of the particular applications that you're running. So keep that in mind. It's not just to present data or information, but it can be also used in our workflows and things of this nature, so we could keep up with the changes in both the industry standards as well as the regs. Okay.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for that. So again, the next thing that we want to cover are the advanced calcs or the features that we rolled out. Here, what you see here is I have loaded a API 1002 pipeline crossing calc. You see the advanced calc section here. This is where we have integrated all the advanced features. You see batch run, sensitivity analysis, and AutoCAD. AutoCAD is something that we specifically rolled out for the HTD folks. In terms of sensitivity analysis, this is an example case that I have with sensitivity analysis built in. So one of the questions or the reason why we build a sensitivity analysis tool within the Hub platform is oftentimes a lot of you guys as engineers, you guys told us, hey, we are doing the analysis for a particular calculation, but there are certain variables we are not 100% confident in, and we want an evaluation process that looks into the range bound of these variables to see how my pass-fail criteria essentially works based on the ranges there. So that's essentially what we did with sensitivity analysis. You are running your base case analysis, as you can see here, and this is what the results for the base case is. Now, what you can do is the sensitivity analysis tab right next to your base calc, you can build your unique sensitivity analysis scenarios. So think of API 102 calc. I mean, pipe depth could be a scenario that you want to build. I mean, you want to see, I mean, hey, what happens to my calculation based on the pipe depth or weight or the load implicated into the calculations? I mean, you can essentially use a sensitivity analysis as a tool to build the parameters that you want to study against, the range that you want to define, and run your model and see what are the sections where the calculation is passing, what are the sections where the calculation is failing, and that's what you see here. And that's essentially something that we have built around the tool so that it looks at your base case and helps you do a very detailed sensitivity analysis on the different range of parameters that you want to study against. And what you see here is that, and it also has a study plot where you can essentially select any of the parameters that you want to study against. In this case, uh, if I'm plotting operational pressure against the effective stress, as you can see, the overlap happens when the operational stress crosses a certain threshold, and that's where the failure criteria builds up. And what you see is the red line is the allowable versus the blue is the calculated, and that's what you see in the threshold there. All those things are available, and like I said, I mean, we heard you guys, we rolled it out. What we do usually as a product team, myself and Joe, is we take what we call as a minimum viable product as the phase work. So we started off with rolling it out for one calculation, got the feedback from the industry across the board with different clients. When we felt like, I mean, we are doing something right, we just then spread it across the multiple modules and multiple calculations. We are happy to see right now, as you see, sensitivity analysis is available in pipeline crossings and HGD, and also into the hot tap sizing. So if there are new calculations, new places where the team would like us to take it even further, we're happy. We are listening, and we are happy to just essentially take it forward there. The next piece of rollout was the AutoCAD import. As you can see, this is an AutoCAD file for an HTT design. The context or the reasoning behind this was a lot of our HTT engineers, they came to us and they were like, hey, we are spending a lot of time doing the pre-processing of the AutoCAD design outside your hub platform. And if there's an easy way for you to essentially allow us to bring the AutoCAD drawing so that we can do the pre-processing validation and the board profile configuration into your system, that would be helpful. And that's essentially what we did. You now can bring your AutoCAD drawing into our system, like what I'm doing here. You can build the HTTP profile, make sure that you validate your HTTP profile against the drawing that's there, and log that into our system. So what you can do then from this point onwards is when you're doing any of the HTTP calculation, you can simply load the parameter and the drawing into your calculation that you want to do the analysis for, and it's forever there. I mean, so if you want to use this as a record for TVC compliance in a future state, that's also made available here. So it's as long as you are essentially retaining the AutoCAD drawing into our system, it's made available and it's available across HTTP platform. So that is the AutoCAD drawing that we did. Now, the third feature is the batch run. And the context for batch run was a lot of times, you're doing the same model and you want to execute multiple calculation runs on the same model. It could be a crossing analysis where you want to do multiple crossings against a particular model, or it could be an R-string analysis against multiple digs that you want to do. There wasn't an easy way for you guys to do skewed multiple batch runs. What you were doing historically was you were entering the data for each individual calculation, complete the calculation process, and then go to the next one. What we have done here is we can help you run up to 100 cases in one single go. And what you do basically is you essentially use the batch run as an option here. You basically bring your data in a template process. And once you have all the case data in, you can essentially execute the calculations, complete the calculation process, and even have a pass-fail criteria to essentially filter down the cases that you want to further analysis. And this is made available in the Hub platform across multiple calculations. So wherever you see batch run as a feature update, it's made available. It's available for you to use. We have batch run in pipeline toolbox, gas and liquid. We have batch run in R-string, and we have batch run in few other sports like the hot tap models. And we're not stopping. We took it, we developed it in places where we thought it was useful, and that's essentially what we did. So if the team has a feedback for us to essentially expand it into other places, please let us know, and we will make sure that we roll it out on a periodic fashion there. Joe, anything from your side to add on the advanced features? Else, we'll just take them to
Yeah,
other places.
one of the things that think about you're in a field, and an example would be you're looking for areas that have uh, loss of depth of cover. And a lot of this information can be gathered by close interval surveys and stuff that are done because they do take depth of cover. And you could take that information and do your crossing calculations, your stress calculations, and things of this nature where these areas of concern are. So there's a lot of things that are already you have information you may not realize you have it, like a depth of cover from a close interval survey. They every 100 feet they take it, and you could start using this type of information for doing stresses and calculations like that, where you don't have the proper cover and thing and protection that you need, and so on and so forth. So 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 there's many ways to apply this, not just in the toolbox, but with other pieces of information.
And Joe, I want to quickly give everybody a preview on something that's very dear and near to you. That's the AC mitigation. the amount of work that we did in AC mitigation. So I will let you speak more than me because you were very passionate about all the work that we did so that the team gets to know, and I'll take them to HTD. Why don't you just kickstart on all the work that we did in AC mitigation?
Okay, one of the things I like to talk about is we took a program. Think about this. We took a program that didn't even have any uh, uh, wasn't tied to mapping or anything like that. We had to sort of visualize it, and we took it from that point, added ESRI. We're able to take it to a point where you could create you where to put your sectioning and what's the purpose of your sectioning for the ability to determine where the peak voltages are and things of this nature. So it's a program that you could control, not somebody else. Just putting artificial points on the map, and where it makes a big difference. And the thing of it is, now you could not only visualize where your mitigation is going to go. It shows up not only on the map, but it also shows up in your plots or graphs. And you could line it up. You could line up where the data is. And this is what's nice about it. You could do many what if scenarios. And this is what makes the program really, really useful. But not only that, it's the time savings. What other programs are doing, we're doing in minutes and in less than hours. Others are taking days and weeks. So you have capabilities to do a lot more engineering, so to speak, where there's cost savings to the client or your own company, whatever it is. And 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 we've taken this program to another level. And and this is the nice thing with the multiple selections of mitigation you could choose, and mixing and matching the ways it's presented, uh, and still meet the requirements for safety and integrity. And on top of that, we've taken it and even made it a little the conservatism out of it, and made it even more accurate, similar to like R string to B31G calculations. We did the same thing in here. So these are some of the enhancements we've made, and it's with the mapping. It all has to do with mapping and the way it was, the way we move forward. And this is the direction. It's all about integration. It's all about these areas that of that we could present the data to your clients or your boss or to whomever it is. Look what I did. We could do this for half the cost by making these small changes here and there very quickly, and that's where the payoff is on particularly on the engineering of this. And we also put in you can also put in your limits on here, for the steady state voltages and the current density. Someone wants 20 amps per meter squared, maybe somebody else wants 30 amps per meter squared. Put in what your requirements are, and the nice thing is this is able to present that so you could accomplish your mitigation in a very quick manner. So this is what we're excited about, is the ability to uh, present data, but as well as uh, in the end, it's going to be a cost savings for everyone.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. That's a very good update on what we did with AC mitigation. I know we are very excited about what we did. We also want to give you a preview on what 2025 looks like. Before we go, there's one more thing we want to showcase here. This is basically the HDD with the advancement in HDD that we did. So historically, I mean, if you guys remember, one of the things that was always mentioned as a limitation for us was how we look at the hydraulic fracture analysis, and the cavity expansion model had a limitation of we taking just the soil characteristics of the soil layer that's in contact with the bore profile. And one of the requirement for us was to have multiple options or multiple models to handle that. And the request was to simply have a comprehensive model that looks at the additional layers also into account. And what we did is we essentially included an additional model. This is called as the average soil layer model. That's a much more advanced model that looks at the additional soil layer. And we have this made available in HTD Power Tool. So if you now, it's totally up to you. I mean, if you want to use a simple HTD hydraulic fracture analysis or a complicated HTD hydraulic fracture analysis, the tool is built to do that. And these are all feedback that we got and we were able to cover in 2024. Now, having said that, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to take you guys back to our slides and just showcase what 2025 looks for us. Give me a minute as I pull the slide. All right. All right. So 2025 preview. We want we want to give a glimpse of what are some of the industrial trends we are seeing, and a quick update from our side. Uh, a big update from our side is we listen to our customers, and one of the feedback that we received was the idea of customer advisory board. So we are doing customer advisory board or CAP meetings for each individual product. So if you or anybody you think is the right person to talk to in your organization who can help us improve the product, please keep us in loop. We can essentially engage and do this CAP meetings for every product that we have within the hub platform. We do have CAP. We recently completed the CAP for HTD that was planned in Q4 that we executed in Q1. We have a big one coming for AC mitigation by the end of this month. So I mean, and we have continuous plans of doing the CAP. So that's a big thing that's coming in. The second piece is, I mean, we for the first time at Technical Toolboxes, we are introducing what we call as a SME board. This is a board of experts that are coming in from the industry to help us guide what the product rollout should look like, what are things that they're seeing in the industry, and how we can essentially help facilitate the evolution of each individual product across the hub platform. And we are very excited for these two new initiatives that we are doing. The other thing is what we see in the industry trends. And for that, I don't think there's anybody better than Joe to essentially give you guys a quick glimpse on what industry trends he's seeing in the industry for 2025. Joe, over to you. Joe, you're muted. There you go.
Okay.
All right,
All
go
right.
for it, Joe.
Well, all right. Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Febin. 2025 projections. I broke it. I broke it down into different ways to look at it, and one of the ways right now is, let me bring this up again. Here we go. Nope, that's not the one. Here. Okay. AC electrical power. We're going to talk about AC, FERC, that's Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, oil and gas, PHMSA, PRCI, and hydrogen. So let's talk about AC electrical power. And you're saying, why are we talking about that? Well, it's related to our natural gas pipelines. And the Department of Energy predicts that we're going to use about 160 gigawatts of new resources that will be needed by 2030. And how are we going to meet those? Well, one way is natural gas, and go into turbines and things of this nature. Give you an example. I'll take my home state, Pennsylvania. 57% of the state's electricity was generated through natural gas. Could you believe that? And this is the kind of stuff that we need to think about, because all of a sudden there's a demand for natural gas fired systems, and where's that product going to come from? Well, it's going to have to come from pipelines, and so this is what we're dealing with. Not only that, we also have an issue with, it's not an issue, it's a good thing, that we're also exporting LNG. So we'll be talking about that in a minute. So wholesale prices, unfortunately, are going to start rising in most regions of the U.S., except for the Northwest and certain parts of Texas. And this is reported by the Energy Information Administration, EIA. Other regions of the country are likely to see wholesale prices over the next year because of the cost of natural gas. Unfortunately, gas is going to go up, natural gas, but this is part of the price we have to pay, for producing more product. Worley, uh, now let's not forget certain things. Worley was just awarded a feed contract for first ammonia. Now, why are we talking about that? Well, they're going to produce, this is in Victoria, right just south of Houston, okay? And they're going to produce about 300 metric tons per day, which is going to be turned into hydrogen gas. So this is something we need to think about. I'll talk about that a little bit later, how that all fits in, with hydrogen. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. These are the guys that regulate the gas lines and the power lines and everything else. They're looking at what they call co-locating. Well, we also have a word called co-locating, where we have pipelines and power lines in the same right of way, and I'll talk about that in a second. What they're doing is looking at the large loads such as data centers and power plants, and what they're looking to do is looking at the priorities for consumer cost and reliability. We all know of all the problems we've had with reliability with some of the electric systems. Uh, uh, Good thing I put a natural gas generator in my house because last year I had it running for 8 days straight because of the issues with the storm. That was not It was a good thing for me, but to hear the noise in my back window wasn't. But this is one of the things I had. I was glad I got that generator, but you could see what's going on, with uh, power. And so it's all related to this. So technical toolboxes, where do we fit in? Okay, we fit in with ACPT software, which I just talked about, and it's in co-located pipeline and power line right-of-ways. And then how does this fit in? Well, it fits in because we just talked about the need for more electric power. So how are they going to do this? Well, one way is through using advanced conductors, high capacity conductors, and they're calling this reconducting. And you're saying, what the heck is reconducting? Well, reconducting is taking the old line, removing the old conductors off the towers, and putting in this high capacity conductors that could double or triple the existing high voltage transmission system. So think about that. They don't have to put in new towers. They don't have to replace the towers. They could just take out the old wiring or conductors, and away they go. But we have AC. We have the AC power tool, that could handle those kind of issues, because now all of a sudden, instead of calculating for 3,000 amps per phase, we may be calculating for 10,000, and this is going to quadruple your issues on the pipeline. So we need to think about that. This is our future, but it's a good bad future in one way, but we could handle it because I've been doing some side calculations, and yes, it can be handled properly, using the tools that Technical Toolbox has. The Federal Regulatory Commission, a company I worked for a few years back, Transco, Williams Companies, Transco, they just gave them permission to put in new additional pipelines in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and Maryland under existing right of way. And this is going to take care of about 4.4 million homes. So on the gas side, you could see where we're adding more pipes. On the oil side, you're not hearing too much noise on that one. So keep that in mind. The other thing is PHMSA. Okay, what does PHMSA stand for? Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. I could never remember that, but it's a good thing I have it written here. Anyway, what's their whole purpose? Well, they're looking at. They just got done with the mega rule, and we'll talk a little bit more on that. But how does the mega rule apply to us? Big time, because it really affects every pipeline operator out there. But now they're focusing on hazardous liquid lines, particularly CO2 lines. And why CO2? Well, they just had a major leak in Mississippi not too long ago, and they're basing their new regulations or their new notice to proposed rulemaking on CO2. So and CO2, we're looking ways to inject it into the earth, use it for fracking and all other ways, to wake up some wells and things of this nature. So it's a big deal. Um, Issues with the MEG rule. They're still when PHMSA put out the mega rule, the pipeline operators uh, were concerned, very concerned. And so why? Because of the additional costs they were incurring that, you know what, PHMSA did not think about. They did no cost analysis on some of this stuff. So right now, the pipeline operators went to INGA to contest the mega rule, which is still in litigation. So we'll keep you up to speed on this. Neither one will say anything publicly, but we all know, what the outcome's going to be. And there's reasons because the biggest cost, as we know, was the cost of doing verification of the materials, steel materials on the pipe itself, on a every mile basis. And you could quickly see how costly that could be. And where does Piper fit in? We just talked about it a little bit earlier. Febin asked me to chime in. We're going to make sure that it's in compliance with the latest PHMSA standards wherever they may fit. And this is the nice thing about having artificial intelligence, where it integrates into the engineering workflow. So not only it works on the back end, but it also works on the front end, where you could get your information and you'll have it in your reports and things that along with your calculations and everything else. So this is where it's playing a big role, and Piper keeps expanding with our company, just like with other companies. We're no different, but we want to just focus mainly on the oil and gas industry per se. So we talked about, are there better days for the oil and gas industry? I would say yes and no. Early indications point to the likelihood of renewed investments might fall short, and I think that's going to be on the oil end. But however, the gas will be one of the winners. Why? We just talked about it, the AC electric power demand. However, we also got another thing we have to look out for is the LNG demand around the world, and which is going to spur additional uh, gas development and production. And I just happened to open up my emails this morning, and what do you know? I just read about KM and One Oak announced these billion-dollar investments in this future of infrastructure and including export capacity, particularly on the natural gas systems. So that's where we're going. Okay. So I want to point that out. And then as far as hydrogen, does everybody know that we have on the Gulf Coast over 1,000 miles of pipeline hydrogen pipelines to chemical plants and other facilities? Right now, it's been that way for a number of years. Yes, it's been there. And you could see now. I'm going to go back to this ammonia plant, because they're going to be producing hydrogen, in Victoria, Texas. Worley got the contract for that, and so you could see how all this fits in together. This is what I want to talk about. So that's more pipelines, and we need to think about hydrogen pipelines. And I'll be talking about GTI and PRCI and how they fit in, and then how we fit in on all of this. What is our role? What is Technical Toolboxes role? And we're going to be the guys, with the software coming out, and I'll get into that in a minute. But let me first get through with what they're going to do down there, and they're going to at that plant they're going to use solid, not state. They're going to, it's called solid oxide electrolyzers. So this is going to make it more efficient, for producing hydrogen. Also, GTI, Gas Technology Institute, is working in the Houston area to develop. This is one of the areas, additional hydrogen infrastructure. They have like $1 billion to be doing this, and one of the things they'll be looking at is the Pedris salt dome for production, storage, and also a storage hub in South Texas. So watch out for that. A lot of the stuff, you have to look for, particularly in the area of hydrogen, but it's around.
Joe,
Uh,
there is a question that came in for you, I think, from the audience. Uh,
yes.
Yeah,
you want to
yeah,
pick it up?
yeah. So Michael asked us, will that PHMSA new will the PHMSA new requirements for CO2 pipelines include CO2 in gaseous or mixed states?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, that's that's the problem right now. What state is it in? At the time of failure, because it goes into the dense state and things of this nature. So that has yet to be determined. We know when you're dealing with CO2 and the different states it can be in, even by a small temperature change. I don't know the whole story on that, but I don't want to spend a lot of time. But that was a great question, and that's one of the challenges that we have today with CO2 is what state is it in at the time when it's when these accidents happen. But I'm sure we could look it up in the NTSB or uh, accidents, and also you could look it up on the website with PHMSA too. So
Perfect.
so so take that
Yeah.
into consideration. Uh, for the sake of time, I want to keep on time. PRCI. PRCI has been involved with the ASME, for the addition of hydrogen pipeline requirements. We know the changes are occurring, and this is good. And I know ASME's working on things too. So they're working together as a team. They got a consensus engineering requirement project that translates, and updates the pipeline language. And that's one of the things we need to do is get the acronyms and synonyms and everything else that's out there regarding something new that we're going to be working with. And there is a document called B3112, for with ASME already, and that has to be updated. The resulting, like I say, PRC has a report now. I understand this report, the final report is proposed language and project details is available on their website. So you may
Good.
want to look into that if you're a PRCI member. And then where does, like I say, where does Technical Toolboxes fit in? Well, we fit in because we work with PRCI and we distribute the software, like such as the on-bottom stability, the thermal analysis for hot tap and other welding requirements. And this is where we are, on in this whole process. So that's why I bring these updates, let you guys know, where we are. We're going to keep on top of, CO2 and hydrogen, and we'll keep on top of the regulations and the industry standards. So I'd like to thank you very much. One other thing, uh, there'll be some new ILI tools coming out that could improve the pipeline integrity assessments regarding H2 hydrogen. So watch out. This is 2025, and hang in there. And I'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. It's a lot of information for all of us. Thank you for that. Now, Joe, I think we are going to the final side. Let's showcase what 2025 looks for us from a planning standpoint. So, uh, so this is what we have for 2025 H1. That's the first half of the year that we have planned. The reason why we're just showing just for the first half is a lot of the feedback we expect to come from interactions like this so that we can plan it for the second half. So if there are feedback, this is the time where you can actually share the feedback with us. But this is a rough roadmap on for each one. So, and we have basically split it into the platform, that's the hub platform, and the products. And future bets are always things, I mean, that Joe mentioned that me and Joe and the team, we are working on it. So from a platform standpoint, one of the key things that we want to make sure we execute well is what we call as insights. So you saw us using Piper, you saw it essentially reasoning with the context of what the question is. The next big task for us is we want Piper to be smarter in essentially aiding you or helping give a contextual answer on, hey, what is this calculation about? What is it that I'm calculating? What the results look like? So that I mean there is some amount of referencing or some context on what the answer is. We want it to assist our engineers in essentially giving it a reasoning, and that is something that we're going to do. We're starting off from a minimum viable product or a playbook standpoint for pipeline crossing, which we are testing internally. Hopefully, we will have this out very soon. And if all goes well, I mean, we just want to take it to other products based on the feedback that we are getting. But that's something that's new that we are working on. Outside of that, for the platform inspection suite, I mean, a lot of you might be aware of our API inspection suite that we have. We want to work on it. We want to make sure, I mean, we develop onboarding content on for that particular modules, like what we did for the rest of the product. That is something new that we're going to do and that we're going to focus on. In terms of products, this quarter is very much focused on pipeline toolbox. There's a whole bunch of enhancements and the calculation updates coming into pipeline toolbox. These has been feedbacks that we have received from users that we are focusing on. So that is something new that we are working on in pipeline toolbox. And also in inspection, so API toolbox, the inspection suite, it is getting a full revamp. We are actively working with inspectors, actively working with our teams across the board to understand, I mean, what the user workflow and user experience should look like. And we're kind of getting good feedback on that front. Also, there's one place where we want to redesign the reporting styles for the inspection. So that is something that's already work is underway. It's mostly feedback related stuff that we are doing there. And if you look at for the product in a similar long-term fashion, we want to again go back to HTD. There are some enhancements and feedback that we got from the recent cap. We are going to work on those things. Uh, we got feedback on the ductile pipe. You'd be surprised. We didn't explain that we are working on insights, but we got some similar feedback on insights that some of our customers would like us to see based on the calculations that are being performed in HDD. So we want to see, I mean, if we can work on it, and that is something from a product standpoint we're going to do. Uh, Additionally, we got requests to essentially update the C662 code standards, the newer code standards, and some of the updates. We're going to do that, and also catalog updates that are coming in from C662. That's also something that we're going to work actively on. for the products. API toolbox, if everything goes well, if we get the design right, and if most of our customers are happy with how our user workflow and user experiences, we want to execute that in the short term. So that is related to the inspection suite that you're seeing. Uh, Also, since I mean we have limited time and I want to open it up for Q&A, just look at our future bets. I mean, see, I mean, if this is something that you will find it useful. So SME network, that's something new that we have rolled out. Like we said, SMEs, Joe is one of our SMEs, and we have right now 4 or 5 different SMEs that are experts in the industry who are coming in together and having roundtable discussions on what are the products and the updates that's required. So we want to essentially develop that SME network, and that's something that we have done there. Additionally, PRCA has uh, PRCA has expressed interest in taking P-square model that's considered as the next historic update for our string that TC Energy has performed very well in Canada, that PRCA is essentially actively pushing. They have requested us to essentially figure out a way to essentially take it to the market. So we are working actively with PRCA on that from a design and specification standpoint, and also what it means for the industry. So that is also some future work that we are doing. So those are things that we are doing. And from an inspection standpoint, risk-based inspection is a direction we want to go in the short term, and that's what you see there. So yeah, so this is mainly our quick high-level roadmap for H1. And like we always say, roadmap is a roadmap, but we work on things that matters for you. If there's anything that has to be changed in the roadmap, we're more than happy to essentially switch it around based on the feedback that we receive. And now since we are coming very close to the end of the session, and we have, I think, 9 minutes. I don't want to disappoint Kesley. Kesley, go on for the question and answers. I mean, if there's any, we are happy to answer.
Absolutely. So, Feb and Joe, thank you so much. This is all great stuff. We're getting some awesome questions in, so I want to make sure we have time to cover those. So, real quickly, you'll see on your screen the first of 2 poll questions. We'll display those for about a minute each. We'd love your feedback. Um, as you saw earlier in the presentation, based on our 2024 and our 2025 initiatives, we really value your feedback, like Febin said. So, these poll questions help us determine what to prioritize next and where we can best serve you and continue to better our product. That's our priority. So please give us your feedback. This is super valuable to us. First question should be on just for a few more seconds. So again, we're just asking based on what Febin showed for 2025, what would be, more interesting to you and your team in implementing in 2025? Great. And the second question should pop up here shortly. So, what areas of midstream operations do you see the biggest need for improvement in 2025? These are some of the trends that we are seeing. I know Joe talked a lot about most of these in the industry trends section of the webinar. Are you seeing that? I think we're all seeing it, but is it the biggest you think as far as need for improvement for these AI-driven insights? The API enhancements we're making are a huge deal to a certain sector, but do you see that as the biggest need for you and your team? Again, also pipeline integrity, risk assessment tools. Joe and Febin covered a lot of these, but we're just interested to get your feedback in what areas you believe need the biggest improvement for 2025. And then I will start filtering through the Q&A here while we wrap this poll question. I want to make sure we can cover the first one for Joe. If you don't mind unmuting, Joe, we've got one related to the industry trends and the regulations you talked through, more specifically to the hydrogen. So further, is it hydrogen pipeline blended with natural gas? And I think that was related to that last section of your slide.
I didn't talk about blending at this point in time.
Mhm.
And there's reasons for it. Is because some of the pipeline operators, I could tell you right now, a little bit concerned about the existing integrity of their pipelines, because once you introduce even 10 or 15% blended hydrogen with natural gas, you're subject to cracking, with certain types of steels and certain grades. And of course, the higher the SMICE values, the specified minimum yield strength, they're more subject to this. So we have to be careful where we blend, and all these things have to be worked out. That's why PRCI, ASME, and others are working on a lot of this, and GTI. Do we blend right before it goes into distribution, where you have lower stress lines? There's a lot of things to work out. So right now there's no answers. Nobody has the right answers right now of how it's going to be transported, and where will the product be coming from? Would it be something generated at a specific point or something like that? So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Let's move on to the other question submitted and he's specified, not sure if you already mentioned this, but wondering if the fracture analysis provides reliable and accurate data for drills within rocky terrains. I think this is more for Febin.
Okay, that's for the HGD hydraulic fracture analysis, if I understand correctly.
Hmm.
For the cavity expansion model looks at the soil characteristics, so it works very well in the soil, and rock is an exclusion there. But one of the recommendations that we and our subject matter expert, Dr. David Willoughby, recommends is for the rest of the area in your HGD profile outside of the rock region, you still can essentially accurately model your soil characteristics and essentially get a very fair hydraulic fracture analysis model completed. And you can use either the simpler version of the cavity expansion model that looks at the soil characteristics of the soil layer that's in contact with the bore profile, or you can essentially look at a detailed model that can look at additional soil layers from the point of interaction. So both model works, and you can essentially segment it for sections outside of the rock layer and do a very detailed analysis.
Perfect. And we did get a couple more questions. I do think you already covered part of this, Febin. So, how is the prioritization done for a product enhancement, and how do we request an enhancement that we'd like to see in the product?
And again, prioritization is always coming in from our customers. We want to do what you guys would use. So if we get what we do is, I mean, generally when we get a feedback, we track all the feedbacks, and the prioritization for the feedback essentially comes in when we hear the same kind of feedback from multiple different users. And when we get this, I mean, one of the ways we do is we then prioritize it, since I mean, these are features that a lot of our customers can actively utilize, and then we prioritize this. And for the feedback, uh, uh, in the last slide, I mean, we have my email there, so if you want to directly contact with us, you can essentially send an email with what feature you would like to add. Or our Jira system or the ticketing system is very good. We do read all the feedback that we're getting. Myself, Joe, and the rest of the team, we spend a lot of time looking at it. So that's also a way to do that. And the last and final way to essentially do it is just send us an email at support@technicaltoolboxes.com, and we will make sure we send a response back to you based on the feedback we receive.
For sure. Thank you so much, Febin. Thank you, Joe. I know we have a couple questions we don't have time to cover, so we'll be sure to follow up via email. Thank you all for submitting those questions, and like I said, for those we didn't get to address live, we'll follow up via email. You'll also receive a recording of this webinar via email, and it'll be made available on our YouTube channel before the end of the week. Special thanks to Febin and Joe, and for everyone in attendance. If you have any additional questions or interest in something that we talked about, or maybe we didn't talk about today, please feel free to reach out. I know Febin's going to put up the last slide that gives his contact information. Again, please reach out. We love to schedule one-on-ones. We are happy to demo any product or any of the features that we kind of discussed today. But other than that, thank you all for attending, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.